Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Pilushi here. Today, I'm going to give you guys a little rundown of how I got into cybersecurity. So my journey started back in high school. I wasn't a coder. I wasn't someone that was very in tune with technology. My IT experience consisted of unplugging my router and plugging it back in when my connection was slow. But I wasn't really that tech savvy. What I did was that I thought I was going to be a CRNA in high school. I was taking human anatomy, I was getting into it, I was researching. And then one time we went to see a cadaver at this small little university. I saw the cadaver, they were playing with the tendons in the hand and made the fingers move.
Oh, shit!
And I said, absolutely not. I do not have the stomach for this. This is no, heck no. So what I did then was I was kind of up in the air. I didn't know what I wanted to do. One weekend I was visiting my grandparents and I was offered a house sit for my cousin and her husband. And dude, let me just say, I went to this dude's house. It was super nice. He showed around his, living room, his kitchen. He said, "Hey man, have whatever drinks you want. You want some wine? Have some wine." I said, "Bet, say less," because we're doing it for free, obviously. But yeah, went ahead and we went into his office. I was like, "Bro, what are you doing? Is this just your gaming setup?"
Nice place, bro.
And he was like, "Nah, man, this is my office. Like, I work here. I'm in cybersecurity." I said, "Oh, bet, cybersecurity. Say less." So I kind of had that jotted down. I did some research. I was like, man, people in cybersecurity making how much money? Say less. And then the rest of the night, I watched Naruto Shippuden, and then I also watched My Hero Academia with my cousin. And yeah, it was an actual phenomenal night. But in doing so, what I decided was I went to college for track and field. I was a thrower. And I decided to major in cybersecurity. So went through school for 4 years. I took care of my brother during the summers because he had severe autism. So help with that, and I was getting paid from the state for that. So win-win. And I was going into my master's, and I was like, dude, I need an internship. This is crazy. So I completed the first year of my master's, and I started applying this stuff because I was like, dude, I need to apply this stuff going into my last year of school. Hopefully doing this, I'll be able to actually find a job in this sector because, internships while you're in college are the best way to find a job and have a return offer. 100%. If you go into school and you do your major, you do all your classes and everything, and then you graduate, you're going to have a hell of a lot harder time finding a job compared to if you actually did an internship and you got a return offer. With doing that, what happened was I applied to a bunch of internships. Obviously, the ones on LinkedIn had thousands of people applying, so I didn't get those. I was on Google one day, and then the company I currently work for had an IT internship. So I applied. There was about 5 openings. I applied all of them. And then like a couple weeks later, I was getting denials from them. I had 4 denials. I was like, man, this sucks. I thought I really might have a chance because it was also remote. I looked at my email. Boom. I got an interview invite. So I went to the interview, crushed it. It was only one round. Then I think that next Monday, after it was like a Thursday or Friday, I had the interview. They offered me the job. And it was an IT support analyst intern. I killed it. I made great connections. I worked hard. I learned a lot. I had imposter syndrome like my first week there, even though I already had my bachelor's in cybersecurity. But yeah, dude, I definitely made a great impression for myself. I made great connections. I was, very communicative with people. I wasn't like a freaking hermit, and which is very rare in IT. You don't want to be a hermit. You want to kind of be sociable with people to move up. And then, I did that for the summer. Then I interviewed for another IT support analyst role that was like for the year-round intern. Did that for my fall semester. Was still remote, obviously. And then coming up, I finished my last semester of track and field and also didn't work because I was like, I have the rest of my life to work. I don't need to work while I'm in season. So I was competing. Then in April, I was like, dude, I need to start trying to maybe look for a job. So I reached out to my old boss. I was like, bro, you got anything? And this dude was the GOAT. He hooked me up and gave me our security department manager's email, sent him an email. Me and him kind of had a quote unquote interview. It was called a touch base, but we had an interview. And then, we kind of hit it off. We talked about track. We talked about my goals. And I didn't know at the time. I just thought I was kind of talking to him and just, making a good connection. But that was my interview. And then come to find out a couple months later, after I'd already finished my season, I'd finished and graduated with my master's. He offered me the role after I was applying. I was getting stressed out because the job market was terrible at that time. It's still bad, actually. But yeah, he offered me the role. I started in August, and yeah, I work as a full-time cybersecurity analyst, kind of focused in GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. And bro, I've been having a great time. Since then, I've gotten 2 certifications. CompTIA Security Plus, and also I got the ISC squared SSCP, the System Security Certified Practitioner. And that one was no joke. I'm not excited for the CISSP when I take it because that one was freaking difficult.
Shit, that nigga had me scared, but I held my own. That.
But yeah, this is kind of my journey into cybersecurity. It wasn't anything crazy, and it wasn't the stuff that people tell you about. With if you get a certification in 6 months, if you get this certification in 6 months, you can make 100K starting out. That's just not true. You have to build connections in the space. You have to make a lasting impression. You have to work hard. Some people can make their way up based on who they know and who they're related to. But I didn't know anyone in the space besides my cousin's husband, and he really didn't pull any strings for me. He kind of just helped me and gave me some learning material to kind of learn about cybersecurity. But yeah, I mean, this was kind of my journey and how I made my way into cybersecurity my own way. How you get into cybersecurity will probably be very different from me. So you just gotta find your own path, make great connections, work hard, learn a lot, and soon your day will come. But hey, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like more content like this, just let me know. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.